Hallo, hallo. Good evening. Goedenavond en welkom bij College Tour. We zijn vanavond in Londen, want onze hoofdgast die is hier geboren, opgegroeid en hier brak hij ook door. Hij begon met de Jeff Beck Band, toen natuurlijk The Faces en daarna in 1971 een monsterhit met Maggie May. En toen begon zijn rock'n'roll leven met langbenige, rondborstige, blonde vrouwen. Daarna kwam nog Sailing natuurlijk en Do You Think I'm Sexy. Wereldwijd verkocht hij meer dan 200 miljoen albums. Hij is een ware rock'n'roll legende. Samen met 200 studenten hier in Londen in het theater de Fairfields interview ik vandaag Rod Stewart. Hey, hello, welcome.
Do you know, I actually played in this theatre in 1969.
69.
And that was the last time I was in Croydon.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to look around?
No. It seemed bigger in those days. It really did, yeah.
And you were here with The Faces? Or?
With The Faces when we just started, yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing is you just had a reunion, 5th of September, right?
Yeah, we did, yeah. It was in aid of prostate cancer. So there's only 3 of us left now. We lost 2 are up there. Mm-hmm. So, but I think it was a big success.
Yeah, Ron Wood was Ron Wood,
oh, yeah.
one of the people. Actually, you have a gentleman here, and you made him cry. Please stand up, sir, because you.
I didn't shag your wife, did I?
I was there, Rod. It was absolutely fantastic. I almost was hoping it wasn't going to happen because it might let me down, but it was brilliant, and it certainly brought a tear to my eye. Thank you so much.
Let me ask you a question. Were you always a Faces fan?
I've been a Faces fan since 44 years now. I've been to every tour.
That's older than most of the people in the audience.
I'm afraid so.
As long as we didn't disappoint you,
thank you.
It
was fantastic.
We'll do it again.
Okay. Brilliant. I really look forward. Thank you, Rod.
Thank you. Is that the end of the show?
This was it. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for coming. No, as you said, we also have a younger audience here who know you from later work. Yeah,
quite attractive too, I note.
Yes. So the first question always on this show is, when you were a student, you weren't much of a student, were you? Now?
No, I was useless. No, I wasn't. I loved school, but I must admit I wasn't very academic. You know.
How many years did you study?
Till I was 16. But
and your mom and your dad, were they happy when you left school and stopped studying?
It was a question of having to leave school because money was short. Little Roddy, as they called me, had to go and get a job. You know, the first ambition, I wanted to play football. That's all I wanted to do. I had no idea about music, not an inclination about being a singer.
And then you said the money was short, but there was not enough money to go to school?
No, oh yeah, well, we didn't pay to go to school, but I mean, I had 2 brothers and 2 sisters who all worked, and they went off, 2 of them went off and got married, and so it was left to me to bring in some sort of an income, so I had to get a job. Yeah. Unlike nowadays, when so many kids are still living with their parents into their 30s, you know, because they can't find a job.
Your kids are living with you, right?
Yes, but I'm very rich and they can afford to. You know, I'm enabling them. I'm not proud of it, but they're all trying, as long as they try.
Yeah, yeah. You like to live with your extended family, with all the kids?
Yeah, I do. You know, it's when we're in Los Angeles, they're all 4 of them live with me. Mm-hmm. 2 of the eldest and 2 of the small ones, but the others will all come round every day.
Right. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. In which category did you score high? Which is a silly question, I know for you.
But you know, I never really was much of a drug taker. So.
Well, I read this one. Great.
You know, it's in there. You know, I say I never bought drugs in my life.
No, but people gave it to you.
People gave it to me, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the high and then the extreme low, and also, you know, I played a great deal of football in those days, so I was always wanting to keep my body as clean as I could.
But there is this anecdote in this book that you are standing at a soccer field with Ron Wood. And then suddenly he finds out that he has a hole in the bone of his nose because of snorting of cocaine, right?
Yeah, it's true. And that may have been, you know, an early warning sign for me, you know.
But you didn't quit.
No, yeah, I didn't really. If I did a little, it was a little, oh, don't like that. I've never smoked in my life. So as far as drugs are concerned, I know nothing. Wine is a different thing. Yeah. You know, I do enjoy a glass of wine.
You a fish? Drinking fish?
No, I'm not an alcoholic. What are you assuming?
Okay, the women then, sex, that is maybe a better subject to talk about.
You know, I think of me, when I became famous, I was 20-something, right? So lots of money suddenly comes in. Any 20-year-old in this audience would have done the same thing. Lots of girls partying, you know, it's that age when you want to do it.
Yeah. But when you just said, I left school, my ambition was to be a soccer player. When did you find out, okay, music is the thing that can make me happy or rich or famous?
Well, let me interrupt there. The one thing when I came into music, and I think all of us, you know, that started in the 60s, the furthest thing from our mind was being wealthy and famous. We did it because we had such a commitment and love of the music. It was never like it is nowadays, you know, a way to get rich and see yourself in the papers. It was never like that.
How did you find out then that you had a talent for the music, and who brought you on that path?
Well, I used to be a beatnik when I was in my teens, and that was rebellious with long hair. And this lady's looking at me like I'm a total idiot. Have you ever heard of beatniks?
Yes, actually.
Oh, okay, so that's what I used to do. So I used to play guitar, and I'm talking.
Yeah.
I used to...
You're still here, sorry.
I used to play guitar and sing, because my dad had bought me a guitar earlier, and people used to say, oh, that sounds good, Rod. You sound just like so-and-so and so-and-so. So that's how I realised that there may be a future in music for me.
Yeah. Let's have a look, before I open up the hall here for student questions, to two people who know you extremely well and that we talk to. Have a look.
There was 5 of us with Roddy. He was spoilt, yeah, definitely. You couldn't help but spoil him, could you?
His background is very working class. His father had a news agent, and like the rest of us, he dreamed of escaping to another world where you could play music for a living.
I can't remember him ever being in any trouble of any sort. Not while he was young, you know. I mean, later, that's when he started, you know, busking and not coming home, and it took a lot of years off my mum and dad, and I told him that.
Rod Stewart's reputation in the early years was dreadful. I mean, we used to behave hideously, and we were, constantly getting thrown out of places and banned from airlines and banned from hotel chains.
I didn't like the way he dressed. I didn't like the way he drank.
What have you been doing then?
I've been drinking with the rest up the back.
You have?
He started being famous for his lifestyle and not famous for his work. And I think he didn't really mind too much about that because the lifestyle was pretty good fun, beautiful women and fast cars and private planes, all that stuff.
Hi, boys. Thank you.
He is a family person, yeah, definitely. With the children, and he's got his wife, and he's got all the family around him, so... And Jimmy's a very good friend.
It's the friendship of guys who've been through a lot of stuff together, divorces, weddings, funerals.
My sister died. Peggy had MS when she was 23. He obviously was very upset, especially to someone she's like to go into the wheelchair, But then, of course, their mum had it, you see. And she was in a wheelchair.
Rod has changed much for the better over the years. And I would credit Penny Lancaster with a lot of that. He's become kinder and softer.
He's now a father, not a hooligan.
That's my sister. She's 84, 86.
86. And she's here. Have you seen her yet? Yeah.
No.
Please stand up. Mary,
Mary,
where are you? Not a hooligan anymore, she said. Is she
No,
right?
that's absolutely right. You can't be sweet 16 forever. So all those days, that's all behind me now.
The spoiled brat, is she right there?
Did you say that? Well, I wasn't spoilt by, because we didn't have any money in the family. I was spoilt by getting lots of attention, but not, people did, things weren't bought for me, And,
Yeah. No, I was just asking about family life. It is important to you, right? To have your family around. Why? Why is it so important to you?
Because we had a close-knit family when I was growing up. I always had my brothers and my sisters to lean on, and I feel it's a great way to grow up, so I try and instill in my children. You know, keep in touch with Dad, I'll keep in touch with you, no matter where they are in the world.
Okay. Let's see if there are any questions here. Please stand up if you have a question for Rod Stewart. First
Are
question
you
always
gay?
takes it. Here you go.
Well, you were talking about not having much money at home. I'm sorry. So I was wondering if you've learned anything from that, from not having money at home.
Hopefully I've learnt not to spoil my children, but of course I do. It's a fine line between depriving your children and spoiling, and sometimes I cross on the wrong side. I do. So I just spoilt my son terribly. You know, anyway, you all know about football, don't you? Soccer. You see the players wearing these high boots. My son has wanted them for a year, and his mum said, "No, you're going to get them at Christmas. You got to wait." I was in Brazil and I bought him 2 pairs. We had such a row over it, me and Penny, but his little face lit up when I gave him his football boots, you know, and we both love football, and so I was spoiling him. I'm guilty.
Okay, thank you.
How old is he?
23. No. He's 10.
10.
10.
Yeah. You said it's difficult to not spoil them, and it's also
a fine
maybe,
line.
right? But is it also difficult for them to have you as a father, because it's a big tree to live under, and big shadow?
It is. I always call it the double-edged sword. Right. You know, it has benefits, and it has, you know, like when my elder kids were growing up at school, they were sort of mocked a little bit because I was their dad. You know, not so much with the younger ones now, but. Caused a lot of heartache, especially with my daughter Ruby.
Why?
Because she'd fight back.
Ah.
She'd go, bash!
Oh, yeah?
Don't you say anything about my dad, bash!
Yeah. How do you try to protect them from what is happening to them? Because they will always be the kid of Rod Stewart, and people will know. And maybe people want to be friends
For the wrong
with them
reasons.
because for you or for money or whatever.
Yeah, well, I leave their friendships more or less up to Penny, my wife. She's a good judge of character. I am not.
No?
No.
You trust everybody or you don't trust anybody?
I don't trust many people, no.
Why not?
Just the way I am, you know, especially when it comes to finances. I had a manager who screwed me out of fortune, so I began not trusting anybody.
That's where it
Oh,
started.
and I've got good friends I trust, you know, but financially.
Okay. Here.
What do you hate about the music industry?
I hate music snobs. Do you know what I'm talking about? That directly a band become famous, say, oh, I don't like those anymore, you know. Otherwise, I love everything about the music business.
Thank you.
There are certain singers that I think, male singers, and I won't mention names, that try too hard to be bad boys, you know. Not mentioning any names.
Justin Bieber.
Shut up, you're dead right. Yeah, trying too hard. You know, you've either got it or you ain't. He's a great talent, he doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Great singer, great dancer. Why bother? You know, just rely on your talent.
But it's interesting that you say so, because doesn't he do most of the stuff that you did when you were young?
But we were original.
Oh, okay.
We were the first ones to do it.
Yeah, but what about social
You
media?
go, toilets over there, lady. You next.
Yeah. No, I was just wondering, I mean, he is a big star in the time of social media. Everything he does is immediately out there. What would have happened when you were young and there would have been people with cell phones and Twitter?
Well, I'd still be in prison. Oh, yeah. That is a good thing, and we could get away with everything,
Right.
you know. And I just think certain, I don't want to keep mentioning his name, there's a lot of people that play to the media and tell photographers where they're going to be on a certain day so they can get themselves in the paper. At the end of the day, it's talent. That's all that counts. Hopefully that's why I'm still here, why Elton, the Stones, Springsteen, Paul McCartney, all of us of this age have got talent. And in the end, that's what sees you through.
You have been here now for 50 years. It's unbelievable. I mean, Justin Bieber, I will never mention his name again, but that will be a difficult act to follow.
Yeah, I think because, as I said earlier, we were all new when we did it. It was a breakthrough period. You know, to be in a band was so unusual in the 60s, and 60s were a great time to be alive, but it was all brand new. You can't shock the public anymore. Everything's been done, you know. Unless you take your trousers off and display everything on television. You know, that's the only thing that hasn't been done. That stunned you, didn't it?
I'm waiting.
Yes, madam.
Yes, here you go.
I'd like to ask you something about your song Sailing, because that's a very special song for our family, for my sister and my dad and my mother, because she passed away 20 years ago. And her song Sailing was played on her funeral. And so I'd like to ask you, what were the thoughts behind that song?
Well, I didn't write it, unfortunately. It was written by the Sutherland brothers. It was a song I heard way back in 1972 when it was released. And I always wanted to sing the song, you know. That was about it. I loved the lyrics, I loved the melody, I thought it was rather touching. And it stayed with me. I think it was a hit in 75, was it? Yeah. And that was the year I sailed off to live in California. So it was apropos.
Okay, thank you.
Good answer?
Yes.
If you were to give advice to like a young musician, like singer, about how to come into the industry and things like that, what would you say?
It's difficult. The chances of making it are real slim. But if you believe in yourself, I mean, I believed in myself. I was totally committed to it. It was like there was a fire burning a hole in my chest. I loved the music so much. And you've got to be in the business for the right reasons, that you want to sing and you want to perform and you want to write songs and no other reason. And then it's just a question of luck. It really is, just being in the right place at the right time. But stay focused, stay committed, and keep the faith.
Right,
Why is it more difficult for him than it was for you?
Music business is more or less dead now when it comes to record sales. No one buys CDs or LPs anymore. The only way you can really make a good living is by having a good live audience, you know, going on and playing shows. Music doesn't sell like it used to in the old days.
Okay.
And there's a lot of bands. You know, there's hundreds and hundreds of bands. It's hard to break through.
Right, competition is
Yeah.
killing. Yeah. Let's have a look at your career.
Oh, do we have to?
Rod Stewart die is echt begonnen in die vroege R&B scene in Londen. Dat zijn echt de begindagen van de Engelse popmuziek. In 1968 nam hij een plaat op met Jeff Beck, de Jeff Beck Group, waar hij als een god zingt, als een soort rockgod. Daar ontmoette hij Ronnie Wood. En toen is hij daarna naar de feestjes gegaan. Dat is nou echt geweldige Engelse rock. Dat klinkt een beetje rommelig, lekker veel energie. Hij begon eigenlijk parallel daaraan zijn solo-carrière in die tijd. En eigenlijk was hij meteen solo wel al iets succesvoller dan met de feestjes. Wat mij betreft is zijn doorbraak naar zijn sterrendom is gekomen toen hij in 1975 de Atlantische Oceaan overtrok. En daar heeft hij onder andere zijn best verkochte single ooit opgenomen en dat was Sailing. Ik denk dat je Rod Stewart gerust een flamboyante artiest mag noemen met de nodige drugsverhalen. De vrouwen hingen aan zijn knieën bij wijze van spreken. Dat haar van hem, zijn outfits. Het is het rock'n'roll leven uit de jaren 70. En uiteindelijk begon hij zich te bewegen in de late jaren 70 onder invloed van de disco. Ik ben eigenlijk heel benieuwd hoe hij daar zelf op terugkijkt. Rod Stewart kan zich niet alleen meten, maar gaat veel tijdgenoten voorbij als het gaat om wat voor zanger hij is. Niet als het gaat om wat voor componist hij is. Hij heeft een paar liedjes zelf geschreven, maar hij heeft net zoveel covers bekendgemaakt. Je had dan recent het album Time en er komt nu weer een nieuwe aan. Another Country gaat dit album heten. Ik kan me voorstellen dat bij Rod Stewart de zucht is naar live optreden, dat zijn diepste motivatie is. En ik kan me voorstellen dat daar iets ongelooflijks verslavends in zit. Die man is geboren om te zingen, dat moet hij doen zolang het nog kan, zolang het nog goed klinkt en zolang hij nog op twee benen kan staan.
He's saying, I think he's totally addicted to live performing. Is he right?
I feel privileged that, you know, I can make a living, and a very good living, by the way, out of something I've always wanted to do and loved to do, but I wouldn't use the word addicted.
And the other thing he's mentioning is, I wonder how he looks back on the disco period in his life. Do you think I'm sexy, that period?
Yeah, it's still the most popular song I sing every time I do a concert. It sums up a whole era of music, the disco era. It was that and about 5 or 6 other songs that were huge. You know, the Bee Gees, what was it called? Staying Alive. Yeah. It was that era. Oh, how silly. No, it was a good era, you know. It was.
At the same time, these songs are very popular, and as you said, the music snobs, the people who review albums, they didn't like it at all.
No, they didn't like it.
They hated it. Fuck it. Do you even read them? Did you read it at the time? Were you insulted by what you saw or not?
Well, it hurts a little bit, but, success will always win out. It was a huge record, you know.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Crying all the way to the bank.
Yeah. No, not necessarily. Next.
Okay. It works.
My brother and I lost our mother last year, October night, so it's 1 year ago exactly. And she was a huge fan of you, and your music gave her a lot of strength. And she used to play you to lift her spirit up. So my question is, what kind of music do you listen to lift your spirit up when you're feeling down and sad?
Let me say, I always find myself listening to the people that influenced me way back when, and usually they're great black singers. Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, David Ruffin, Muddy Waters, all the great black guys.
Great.
What is the comfort in their voices?
I think it takes me back to my childhood, maybe. I'm not sure. It's just, that's where I learnt my trade. I wanted to sound black, you know. I wanted to sound like Otis Redding and Sam Cooke.
Is it true that James Brown said it about you, that he's the only white man who has a black voice?
Say that again. Yeah, it was true, and I was absolutely flattered. Yeah. He was a good friend of mine, yeah.
Next to you.
You've been a very versatile singer, genre-wise. You've done folk, rock, rhythm and blues, and like a lot of artists usually get stuck in one genre. Like a lot of artists just get stuck in pop, and they don't really want to be doing it and stuff like that. What advice would you have for people just trying to find their own sound that haven't really necessarily found it yet?
That's a good question, because, you know, I always say the good Lord gave me this unusual voice, so I was just lucky. I think you can try and develop a unique style, but other than that, I don't know what to tell you, darling, really.
Yeah, we're a big class of music students, so we're all just like primary research. That's the man himself.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. You know, let's, for instance, say Bob Dylan isn't the greatest technical singer in the world, but he's so unique, you know. There's a lot of singers all sound the same to me, especially a lot of the girls out there now. Yeah. Adele, apart, she is absolutely fantastic. But a lot of them sound the same to me.
Do you think that shows like The Voice or any of those shows will help you get...
Yeah, of course they would. You know, I think a lot of people have put The Voice down, but I like it, because simple reason is I've seen so many talented people that I've known didn't get the break in the 70s and the 80s. The only sad thing about The Voice is, you know, if you're a participant, 1 minute you're treated like a superstar, you know, and everybody's powdering your nose and you're all right, sir, drink of water, sir. And then the next minute you lose and you're out and you're on your ass. And the psychological damage, I would have thought, to people would be, to kids would be immense.
Have they ever asked you to be a jury member?
No.
Would you, if you were?
I wouldn't. I don't think so, no.
Why not?
I'm too busy. I'll get up and say I like singing.
Yes.
Not sitting there judging.
Yeah. You have a new album coming out, Another Country. It's a very personal album, right? It's about your family. Your sister plays a role in one of the songs. It's about Celtic, the Scottish football team that you are rooting for.
Yeah.
Is it easier to write about the stuff that is very close to you or dear to you?
Yeah, a lot easier. A lot easier. I think maybe it comes with, you know, the older you get, you're not embarrassed. I mean, for instance, there's a song on the album called Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, which I wrote about putting my son to bed. He's 4. And he always says, Dad, come up, read me a story. So I'll go up and I say, what do you want me to read a story about? He said, do a make-up story. That means make the story up. Well, what about? He goes, Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man? I went, so my point is, 20 years ago, I could never have written a song like that. Never. I was too busy being a rock star, you know. But now you mellow a bit and you become more tender.
Yeah. You just said it's also because of the autobiography that I found my own voice again. Because you had at least 20 years of not writing any songs. Would you say it was a writer's block?
Oh, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I was doing the American Songbook. That took 10 years. 7 albums, 5 albums in 10 years.
Yeah, all the classic, beautiful songs from the States. Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald. And it was wildly successful.
It was.
22 million albums were sold?
More than that, 27 million now, I think.
Yeah. And were you surprised by yourself that this happened?
Yeah, they sold extremely well. No, it was so much fun doing it.
Yeah. I'm asking because we also had as a guest on our show Sting from the Police. And he did
String, I call him.
String? Why?
Yeah. It's my pet name for him, String.
Yeah. Does he like that?
Yeah, he don't mind.
Yeah. Oh, another question.
What's your favorite song to sing?
Well, my songs?
Yes.
All of them, really. You know, as I've said many times before, when you write a song, if you ever do, it's so personal and so within you. You write it down and you nurture it. It's like a child, you know. And then you finish your album and you hear it on the radio. It's like your child is now out there in the great world. And so they're all my favourite children. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is that the kick, to hear the song on the radio?
Yeah, it still is after all these years, you know, it really is. Yeah, I heard the song Please coming in on BBC Two today and it went, oh, it sounds great. So proud of it.
As I said, we talked to Sting and he was talking about, he had a writer's block and no songs came out of him anymore. And this is what he said about it.
I dreamt I'd become a writer of songs. That I would sing those songs to vast numbers of people all over the world. That I'd be paid extravagant amounts of money. That I'd become famous. Have rooms full of Grammy Awards, platinum discs, and what have you. So far, so good, right? And then one day, the songs stopped coming. And while you've suffered from periods of writer's block before, albeit briefly, this is something chronic. Day after day, you face a blank page and nothing is coming. And those days turn to weeks and weeks to months. And pretty soon, those months have turned into years with very little to show for your efforts. No songs. So you start asking yourself questions. What have I done to offend the gods that they would abandon me so?
Do you recognize what he's saying about not writing songs?
No, it never struck me down as bad as that. You know, because I took a period where I made the Great American Songbook. I've never felt, you just got to be patient with it. You know, if it doesn't come one day, you know it'll come the next. But you can't push it. You can't just give up on it.
Is it difficult? Is it like homework for you to make a song?
It's like homework, yeah. Well, it used to be in the old days. I love it now. Absolutely love it. Because in the old days, with the faces, they'd put me in a hotel room with a bottle of wine and said, lock the door, finish it, you've got to finish the song. And there was too much shagging and a drinking to be done, you know, so I didn't like it.
Next?
Next.
Hi, I was wondering if you still do rehearsals after all these years of experience.
Yeah, it's pretty natural. We'll have to have about 2 days rehearsal before we go on tour, especially if we want to get some new material in. But otherwise, with the voice is a different thing. I really do work at my voice, looking after it and tons of water and warming up.
Yeah, okay.
Is it still strong or do you have
it's
problems?
pretty strong. Yeah, you listened to that album.
Yeah, I did.
Next!
Okay.
There have been so many artists that have been in the industry for, say, 12 months or 18 months or whatever, but you have been doing it for 50 years or more. Do you have any kind of ways on how you can do it for so long, or is it, again, just like a chance of luck?
I think the good Lord gave me a wonderful, not everyone's going to agree with this, voice, but it certainly is an unusual voice. And also being able to write songs. In that respect, you're self-reliant. You've got a good voice and you can write your own songs. You can stay as long as you... Frank Sinatra once said to me, if you last 10 years in this business, you'll last forever. So that was inspiring words from him.
And is he right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much longer it will go on, but I'm enjoying it.
yeah. So I didn't know that, but so you talk to him. I mean, he's one of the biggest artists in the world. Still, people are listening to him.
Yeah.
Was he an inspiration when you talked to him, or did you ask him for advice?
No. It was a brief encounter. His daughter, Tina, is the grandmother of not the godmother of two of my children. So there's a connection there.
That's how you met.
And there he is.
There you go.
One of the greatest.
Why is he so great in what he did?
Like I said to our gentleman at the back there, very, very unique voice, a unique way of phrasing, and he's a very handsome guy too. I mean, and he was the first. He was the first.
And he didn't want to stop. He wanted to sing till he died on stage, basically. Is that your goal as well?
No. If I'm going to die, I'd like to die at the Champions League and Celtic beating Bayern Munich. No chance of that.
Oh yeah, that's the biggest love, football, soccer.
Football. Oh yeah. I just gave up playing. So you think I was 68 and I stopped playing, and it's like big hole in my life has gone. There's a void there now. That's.
Why did you stop playing?
The old knees.
Yeah, it's done?
The old knee won't go, I could play, but for 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it started to hurt. But then in the evening, I'd play in Los Angeles. And then in the evening, I had to get on stage in Las Vegas. And I'd walk on like this. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. So I had to give it up.
Yeah. What's the fun of it? Why do you miss it so much, and what's the passion for this game?
Oh, it's, loads of guys here play football, right? I'm sure loads. It's just, it's addictive. It's a great physical outlet and the camaraderie with all the rest of the team and having a beer afterwards and talking about it. It's great.
We spoke to one of the Dutch players who played for Celtic.
Van Hooijdonk?
Yes.
Ah.
There you go. Yeah.
Ik kwam op een moment bij de club toen het eigenlijk heel erg slecht ging. Ze hadden na 6 jaar zonder een beker te hebben gewonnen. Ja, en ik was er gelukkig om de enige goal te maken in de 1-0 gewonnen finale.
Celtic have scored. And Van Hooijdonk.
Op het moment dat we elkaar weer zagen in Amsterdam 2 jaar geleden, ja, dat daar wel gelijk een mooi moment van herkenning was. De zanger werd ineens weer, zeg maar, supporter. Ja, dan is dat wel heel mooi om te zien dat de liefde van Rod Stewart voor Celtic enorm diep zit. Dat dan Celtic daar het allerbeste clubteam ter wereld vloert, ja, dat is eigenlijk iets wat onmogelijk is. En dat gebeurde die avond en dat voelde het hele stadion. En ook Rod Stewart. Iemand die alles heeft meegemaakt, ziet huilen als een klein kind. Want dat zegt wel alles over de passie en de beleving die hij heeft naar Celtic toe. Hi Rod, as you know, I played with some very good strikers alongside me at Celtic. But knowing now that you worked hard to become a professional football player, I would have loved to have played at least one game alongside you up front for Celtic, of course.
Oh, that is cute. So lovely.
Looked like the best night you ever had, the one when you won and were crying.
It was brief. He turned up to the concert. I had to get out because I have to do a runner, as we call it. But he was certainly. They loved him at Celtic. They loved him in Glasgow.
Hi, Rod. It's an absolute pleasure to see you in the flesh and also to actually speak to you. Can I just sing Celtic United, baby, I've decided you're the best football team I have ever seen.
Oh, bless you.
Regardless to that, my wee ma, when she used to come down from Glasgow, she was just completely Rod Stewart fanatic. She would have been absolutely privileged to have been sitting here next to me, but unfortunately she's passed away. But the question to you, Rod, is do you think you'll ever be able to rest those feet? Do you think you'll know that moment when you say, right, Penny, come on, let's get the kids. We just need to go sailing on our own.
Well, Are you talking about retirement?
Yes. Yes.
Certainly not.
Yes,
Banish
Lord.
that word from
Sorry
this arena.
about that. I didn't actually want to mention
No,
that word.
Penny and I take time off when we want to, you know. As opposed to the old days when my tours were scheduled and then I wouldn't see the kids. What I do now is I schedule my tours around the children's holidays. So when they're on holiday, I go on tour.
Oh,
so when we're doing the tour next year in June,
yes,
that'll be the summer holidays.
Yeah.
So.
But never mention the word retirement. That's
No, banish that word.
So your feet are definitely
Do you know what?
not ready to
the
rest.
great public will tell me when to retire.
Absolutely.
You know, I'll feel it. But at the moment, I'm enjoying it, and I think the public are going to love this new album. And,
Absolutely.
God bless you, darling.
And you. Thank you.
What you were just saying, I will know when to stop when the public doesn't show up anymore. Is that
doesn't show up, doesn't buy CDs. You know, that's probably the time.
Yeah. What is the cutoff thing? I mean, if you were playing here and it would be half full, is that the sign?
Yeah, I suppose so. You'd know, but you'd know in advance.
Right, no tickets.
We've only sold 200 tickets. You know, so well, maybe that's time to pack up.
Are you religiously checking charge or calling your manager? What have we sold? How many tickets have we sold for the concert?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think. But before I do bow out, I'd like to do an American songbook tour, you know, and play the Albert Hall and Carnegie Hall and places like that.
Right. We saw you are good friends with Elton John, right?
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes?
Yeah.
Because he tends to insult people also. And I never know if it's a joke or not. But we saw him on the Graham Norton show talking about you.
Yeah.
Have a look.
Yeah. And I don't really see the point of making a record if you don't try and make it better. I've been making records since 1969. And I made a lot of records. And this one is one of my favorites. Because I think we've come a step further. I'm singing better, I'm playing better. It's a very relaxed album. Record company, who are here tonight, assholes, they wanted me to make Christmas albums and, you know, cover albums, Motown records, but that is so silly, you know. I'll leave that to Rod Stewart and people like that. Did I say that?
Yes, you did.
Having said that, his album's doing much better than mine. Assholes!
I'm doing that show weekend after next, so I'll get my own back.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'll think of something.
You have something already in your mind, a big insult to him? Yeah. What did you think when you saw this, when you said it?
It's funny. It made me laugh. You know, it's
no
great.
problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Here.
Hello. You just said that you're making songs now. You didn't make back in your rock and roll area. What do you like better to make? That songs back then or the songs you make now?
It's the same. You know, I think I'm a better songwriter than I was 20 years ago, simply because I'm older and I've got more experience and more things to write about. But the thrill is still the same, as I said, when you hear it on the radio for the first time.
Okay, thank you.
In the back, the gentleman.
Do you ever miss maybe those early days of rock and roll, or the days when you were still young? Maybe have more energy than now. I'm not sure about that. Do you ever look back at those days and think, I miss it?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't have two cents to rub together in those days. I'm enjoying myself a lot more now. But I know what you mean by the 60s. It really was a breakthrough period. You know, I didn't make it until 1971. But it was, as I said earlier, everything was so new and fresh and revolutionary. It was a wonderful time to be alive.
If you had to choose in the decades that you have made music, which decade is the 10 years that you say, well, that's a great period
Oh,
of
I would
time?
say for me it would definitely have been the 70s. You know,
The solo period in your life?
Yeah, some great music made in the 70s. That's when Led Zeppelin came along, and just great music.
In the back, yeah.
Hi. What techniques do you use when you want to write lyrics for your songs?
Well, I never use a rhyming dictionary. You know, you've got to be patient.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't get one line to the song to finish it off, just forget about it, put it away. For me, you know, sometimes in the middle of the night I'll wake up and have to write lyrics down. It will come to you any time. But there's no special hard and fast rule to writing songs. It all comes from here.
Great.
It's very unpredictable.
Awesome, thank you.
Over there.
I'm Marianne, hi.
Hi, Marianne.
I was just wondering, way back when you were going through your soccer period, or football period, would you, if you had the choice, you could be a footballer or a singer. Can you make a choice or not?
Definitely I would stay with the singing because I've managed to keep... If I was 60 now, I'd probably be a manager of a 4th division team, you know, not enjoying myself. I think I made the right choice. I tell you why. My dad wanted me to be a professional footballer, but in my head, I knew I wasn't good enough. I just wanted to keep my dad happy.
Okay, all right, thank you for that.
So what keeps you awake at night? I mean, reading papers, watching the news. Is there any story in the news that you think this is really a threat to the future of my kids, for example?
Well, obviously ISIS, you know, but I try not to read the news or see the news before I go to bed. My wife and I cuddle up. We don't watch the television because in case things enter your head and they keep you awake.
But if anything, it is Islamic State. It is what is happening in the Middle East.
Of course it is.
Yeah. I'm asking because when we were researching this show, we saw that you did a concert in '91 when the Kurds were... There was a refugee concert here in England for the Kurds. You were playing there as well. Let's have a look at a clip.
The Turkish government is allowing some 20,000 Kurds down from the mountains into a transit camp inside Turkey itself. On the Turkish border, up to 1,000 refugees are said to be dying every day. At least 400,000 are living in appalling conditions.
Wembley was afgeladen vol. Er waren niet alleen beroemdheden op het podium, maar ook in het publiek. Prinses Diana bijvoorbeeld. Het evenement wordt in 36 landen uitgezonden en het Rode Kruis hoopt meer dan 30 miljoen gulden voor de Koerden op te halen. Het concert werd geopend door Rod Stewart.
So I want you to make your presence known. Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
It was a concert in '91 for refugees at the time. Would you do something like that now?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of requests for doing concerts like that?
Charity stuff?
Yes, right.
Yeah, I'm an ambassador for the Princess Trust. So I do a lot of work for them, quite a bit of charity stuff. Yeah. And one should too.
Yeah. Here. Yeah.
You get interviewed a lot and people ask you lots of questions. Which question do people always ask? And which question do you want them to ask but they never do?
It's a good one.
You're right about the questions I always get asked. Why have you got this fascination with blondes? Gets asked a lot. And the question I would like to be asked, tell me about your kids and what they do.
Can I ask it?
Yeah.
Tell me about your kids and what they do.
Okay. Have you got a couple of days?
Yeah.
Well, the youngest is Aidan. He's at school. And then there's Alistair. He's 10. He's at school today as well. They're both mad Celtic supporters, both blonde. I love them dearly. And then we move up to Renee. She's 21. She's a ballerina studying here in London. And then there's Liam. He's a hockey player. And then there's Ruby. Ruby's got the best voice and a really great songwriter. Then we move on to Kimberly. She's a mum now, so she's looking after her daughter. She lives with me in Los Angeles. Then there's Sean, and he's the only one that hasn't quite found his way in life. You know, he's still looking. And then I've got a 50-year-old daughter, Sarah.
You were 18 when she was born?
Yeah, something like that. And I'm so proud of all of them. I'm just so lucky to have the kids.
Yeah. Sarah was put up for adoption, but you met each other later in life again?
Yeah. We're good mates now.
Yeah. You're still in contact?
Yes, indeed, yeah.
And you were talking about Sean, your oldest son?
Yeah.
He ran in some trouble in California.
Yeah.
Is that because of what? Is it because of his dad, because of himself?
Because of himself. It's difficult growing up in Beverly Hills, you know, with a lot of rich folks and a lot of famous folks, you know, it's difficult for them.
Drugs infested.
But he's okay now, he's come through the other side.
Yeah. Is it easy for you to manage the whole tribe?
To manage the whole tribe? Well, I do find I have to be 8 different fathers,
right?
You know, because of the age groups.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. It keeps me on my feet. I think it's the secret to eternal youth. I really do.
Now, you have 4 different moms, or they have 4 different moms with these kids.
5.
I'm asking because on this show we also had John Cleese, who did the alimony tour, because he had to go on tour again to pay his ex-wives. John Cleese.
Somebody stood up over there and said, Mr. Cleese, do you hate your ex-wife? And I said, no, I don't hate my ex-wife. I wish she was dead, but I don't. If she died right now, I would be £400,000 better off.
Because it all cost him $22 million. And he said, that's because I lived in California, where the rules are crazy. And reading your biography, I thought, did he have to pay a lot of money to his ex-wife?
Me?
Yes.
Mind your own business. Fuck. This is turning into an interrogation.
Well, you're writing about it yourself.
Well, if you read the book, you'd know I had prenuptial agreements.
Yeah.
So prenups, they're called. And I'm on really good terms with my ex-wives and mothers of my children. I certainly wouldn't want them dead.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible, man. What's wrong with it?
Here you go.
I think I speak on behalf of everyone that we want to hear you sing, but on top of that, I want to sing along.
All right, then come on.
Is that possible?
Yeah, what are we going to sing?
I don't want to talk about it.
Come on, then, out you come. So I've got to go soon. I can tell by your eyes that you've probably been crying forever. And the stars in the sky don't mean nothing to you. There's a mirror. I don't wanna talk about it, how you broke my heart. If I stay just a little bit longer, if I stay here, won't you listen to my heart? Didn't get that note. Whoa, my heart. Let's take a bow while we're winning. Come on. That was great. You got a really unusual voice. Great voice. Yeah, it's very unusual. See, that's what I mean. He's got a very unusual voice.
And that's
different to the rest. Yeah, really good.
One more question.
Okay.
Yep. Here you go.
Lady in the tartan shirt.
Have you always stayed true to yourself?
Have I?
Always stayed true to yourself.
Ah.
And why not?
Yeah, I think I have.
Sorry?
I think I have.
Yeah?
Yeah, it took me a while to think about it, but I think I have.
Good.
When did it come all together?
I thought it'd all come together when I picked up a guitar. I thought it'd all come together when Maggie May was a #1 hit, and my folks were so proud of me. It's been one big coming together. It wasn't last week, and it's all the time. Life's been good to me. It's always coming together.
Yeah. If you had to give the students here advice and the people who are watching this at home, from everything you have learned in life, what is the best advice you can give to people?
Stay loyal to your friends and your loved ones. Stay committed and focused on your career. Enjoy the weekends. And then Monday morning, get back and start again. And I just hope you all succeed in whatever you're trying to succeed in. I can't give any more, that's about it.
Rod Stewart.
Thank you so much. More? Picture?
Let's make, before you... Oké, dit was het vanuit Londen met Rod Stewart. We zijn er weer volgend jaar. Tot dan, veel plezier, dag, bedankt voor het kijken.